Chicago Bears fans are staring at one of those moments that define an entire season. And everything right now seems to orbit around the health of the defense and whether this unit can finally look like what was imagined back in the summer. The most encouraging development heading into this playoff matchup is the possibility of getting Kyler Gordon back on the field. After missing a massive chunk of the season, there is real optimism that his practice window could open, giving the Bears at least a chance to see how close he is to being game-ready. Even the idea of Kyler Gordon suiting up again changes the tone of the conversation, because this defense has been searching for stability and versatility all year long. Kyler Gordon's absence has been felt in every possible way. He is not just another cornerback on the depth chart. He is one of the few players in this secondary who can move around, disguise intentions, and execute multiple roles without tipping the defense's hand. Early in the season, the vision was clear. He would be used in coverage, dropped into space, sent on run blitzes, and even asked to pressure the quarterback at times. That flexibility is a key piece of what this defensive system wants to be. Instead, injuries kept pulling that piece off the board, and the Bears were left trying to patch things together week after week. The timing of this potential return matters even more when you look at what the secondary is dealing with right now. With other defensive backs banged up and consistency nowhere to be found, the Bears have been exposed repeatedly. Asking Kyler Gordon to step back in after missing 14 games is not realistic if the expectation is perfection, but that is not what this team needs. What they need is energy, communication, and someone who understands the system well enough to help others line up correctly and react faster. Even at less than 100%, his presence alone could settle things down. This defense has been under the microscope for weeks, and the criticism has been earned. There have been too many breakdowns in coverage, too many missed assignments, and far too many moments where opposing offenses made things look easy. Part of that comes from injuries piling up across the unit. When you lose multiple starters at different points of the season, chemistry suffers. Timing suffers. Trust suffers. The Bears never truly got the chance to see this group operate together for an extended stretch, and now they are being asked to find answers in the most unforgiving environment possible. The cornerback room, in particular, has become a weekly question mark. Jalen Johnson has been gutting it out while clearly not at full strength, and that reality matters when evaluating his performance. Playing through a groin injury at this level is not a small thing, and while fans can be frustrated with individual plays, context cannot be ignored. Behind him, the rotation has struggled to provide reliable coverage. There have been flashes, sure, but flashes do not win playoff games. Consistency does, and that has been painfully absent. One of the more telling developments recently was seeing certain players available, yet not seeing the field at all. When a healthy cornerback does not take a single snap in a crucial game, it sends a message about trust and roles. It also forces a deeper conversation about where this defense is heading beyond just this week. Competition is real, and nothing is guaranteed. If you're not executing at a level the staff believes it needs, opportunities will go elsewhere, especially on a team that has shifted from hoping to compete to expecting to win. All of this circles back to the bigger question hanging over this playoff run. Can the Bears' defense turn the page the same way the offense believes it has? The messaging has been clear. The focus is on moving forward, learning from mistakes, and not letting recent struggles define what happens next. That mindset is important, but it only works if it is backed up by execution. You cannot simply talk your way into better defense. You have to tackle better, communicate better, and play with urgency from the opening snap. This team has leaned heavily on resilience all season long. They have shown an ability to respond, to fight back, and to stay in games even when things start going sideways. That identity has carried them to wins and earned them respect. But playoff football demands more than late comebacks and emotional surges. It demands clean quarters, disciplined drives, and defenses that can get stops without needing everything to be perfect around them. The upcoming matchup is not forgiving. Mistakes will be punished quickly, and weaknesses will be attacked relentlessly. If the Bears are going to make noise, the defense has to give the offense a chance by limiting explosive plays and getting off the field on third down. That starts with health, but it does not end there. It requires players stepping into moments they have not always handled well and delivering when it matters most. There is still belief inside this locker room that this season is far from finished. Getting closer to full strength, even incrementally, fuels that belief. Kyler Gordon potentially returning is not a magic fix, but it is a step toward the version of this defense that was imagined months ago. Whether that step comes in time, and whether it is enough, will begin to reveal itself the moment the Bears take the field with everything on the line. The conversation around this Bears team also keeps coming back to mentality, because talent alone does not carry you through January football. There's been a clear emphasis from inside the building on flushing the last result and focusing only on what comes next. That approach makes sense for a group that cannot afford to dwell on defensive breakdowns or missed opportunities. Short memory is not just a slogan in the playoffs, it is a requirement. Every snap resets the stakes, and the Bears are learning that lesson in real time. What stands out is the insistence on competing at full speed instead of easing off late in the season. This team chose to play, to push, and to test itself even when positioning was already secure. That decision says a lot about how this staff views preparation. You do not sharpen yourself by pulling punches. You sharpen yourself by exposing flaws and forcing them into the open. The problem is that some of those flaws, especially on defense, have lingered longer than anyone wanted. Turning the page is easy to say, but much harder to execute when the issues are structural. The Bears' defense has struggled to stop the run consistently, struggled to generate pressure without extra help, and struggled to prevent receivers from finding space in critical moments. Those are not small problems. They are foundational. Fixing them does not come from one speech or one adjustment. It comes from collective accountability and sharper execution across the board. Up front, the Bears need more disruption. Too often, opposing quarterbacks have been able to sit comfortably, scan the field, and wait for routes to develop. That puts enormous stress on a secondary that is already dealing with injuries and inconsistency. Even the best coverage breaks down eventually when there is no pressure. The pass rush does not have to dominate every snap, but it has to be disruptive enough to force quicker decisions and occasional mistakes. Linebacker play has also been uneven, particularly when it comes to filling gaps and closing space. When those fits are late or tentative, running lanes open up, and suddenly the defense is chasing instead of dictating. That is where confidence erodes, because every missed tackle feeds frustration. Playoff opponents sense that and lean into it, testing discipline over and over again until something breaks. Offensively, there is confidence that points will come, but that confidence cannot turn into complacency. This unit has shown it can strike quickly and also grind out long drives, but waiting until the second half to find rhythm is a dangerous habit in elimination games. Every quarter matters. Every possession matters. The margin for error shrinks dramatically, and the Bears know they cannot rely on dramatic finishes every time. The chemistry between the quarterback and his targets has grown throughout the season, even if it has not always been perfect. There have been moments of brilliance mixed with moments of miscommunication, which is expected with a young core still learning each other. What matters now is trust. Trust to throw into tight windows, trust to make contested catches, and trust that the play design will put players in positions to succeed. This is where leadership becomes critical, not just from the coaching staff, but from players who understand the weight of the moment. Veterans have to steady the group when momentum swings. Younger players have to resist the urge to press and instead focus on doing their job one snap at a time. The playoffs expose emotional cracks as much as tactical ones, and teams that manage those emotions survive longer. There is also an external pressure hovering over this game that cannot be ignored. Rivalry games amplify everything. Mistakes feel heavier. Success feels louder. The Bears are fully aware of what this matchup represents, not just for this season, but for how the league views their progress. There are plenty of voices waiting to dismiss what they have accomplished, ready to label it a fluke if things go wrong. That awareness can be fuel or can be weight. How the Bears carry it will define their performance. If they play tight, try not to lose instead of trying to win, cracks will appear quickly. If they play free but disciplined, trusting their preparation, they give themselves a real chance. The challenge is finding that balance in the heat of the moment. Defensively, the demand is simple but difficult. Communicate clearly. Tackle cleanly. Limit explosive plays. Do those things, and the pressure shifts back to the offense on the other sideline. Fail to do them, and the game can spiral fast. This unit does not need to be perfect. It needs to be functional, aggressive, and resilient when things do not go according to plan. The sense around this team is that the opportunity is real. Not guaranteed, not easy, but real. The city feels it. The players feel it. There is an understanding that seasons like this do not come around often, and when they do, you have to grab them. Health, preparation, and execution are converging at the same time, and whether that convergence leads to something special will depend on how the Bears respond once the ball is in the air and the noise fades into the background. There's also an underlying tension about how quickly growth is supposed to happen for a team in this stage of its development. The Bears have already exceeded many external expectations, but inside the building that cannot be the measuring stick anymore. Once you reach the playoffs, the standard changes. It is no longer about progress or promise. It is about performance. That shift in mindset is uncomfortable, especially for a roster that is still learning how to win consistently at the highest level. Defensively, the margin for learning on the fly is almost gone. Adjustments have to be immediate, and communication has to be second nature. When coverage busts happen in the regular season, you can survive them. In the playoffs, those same mistakes become turning points that decide seasons. That reality is forcing this defense to simplify in some areas while demanding sharper execution in others, a delicate balance that will be tested snap after snap. What makes this moment so compelling is that the Bears do not need everything to suddenly click perfectly to stay alive. They need situational wins. A third down stop when momentum is swinging. A red zone stand that forces a field goal instead of touchdown. A timely pressure that disrupts timing just enough. These are the plays that do not always show up in box scores, but define January football. And they're the plays this defense must find a way to make. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Ben Johnson, the head coach of the Bears, reportedly made headlines this week with a decision that has left players, staff, and fans alike in utter shock. Sources close to the team suggest that immediately following the latest game, Johnson, known for his intensity and no-nonsense approach, banged his fist on the table in a dramatic display that insiders are calling unprecedented in the franchise's recent history. The exact nature of the decision remains shrouded in secrecy, but multiple insiders hint that it could involve a major shakeup within the team's roster or coaching structure. Speculation is swirling that Johnson is no longer willing to tolerate complacency and may be preparing to make bold moves aimed at turning the Bears' fortunes around. Observers note that this could range from benching key players to an unexpected shift in the team's strategic direction. Players were reportedly stunned by the intensity of Johnson's post-game address. Witnesses describe a fiery meeting where the coach, visibly frustrated, emphasized accountability and performance above all else. It was unlike anything we've seen before, one source said. You could feel the tension in the room. He was serious, and everyone knew this wasn't just a pep talk. Fans have taken to social media to speculate on what this could mean for the future. Rumors of trades, position changes, and even potential coaching staff adjustments are circulating at lightning speed. Analysts are debating whether Johnson's aggressive approach is a necessary wake-up call or a risky gamble that could backfire. Historically, Johnson has been admired for his ability to motivate players under pressure, but this latest move appears to signal a new level of urgency. With the Bears season still in a critical phase, insiders suggest that this bold decision might be a turning point. Whether it will inspire a remarkable turnaround or stir internal friction remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. Ben Johnson's Bears are about to enter uncharted territory. The football world is watching closely, waiting for confirmation on the exact changes. Whatever happens next, it is clear that Johnson is taking no prisoners and is ready to make drastic moves to reshape the future of the team. Speculation will continue to mount as fans and commentators alike try to decipher the meaning behind the coach's dramatic table-banging declaration. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.